I'm rested in the I am, and sometimes it feels great, and
Mm.
my tension dissolves, and I'm like it's working, it's working. And then other times, like right now, I'm full of anxiety and tension in
Mm.
my face, my chest, my stomach, and it's like unbearable,
Mm.
and I'm like, I can't help but feel like, is this it? Am I doing it?
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're feeling that way. It must. It can feel awful when you have all that tension and anxiety and stuff in the body. It's very. I mean, personally, I don't know what you think. I think it's very brave to share that with everybody. So thank you for sharing that. Um, yeah, it's just a part of it. Now, there might be ways, relative ways that you can deal with those energies, that anxious energy, that um, that grasping energy, the fearful energy, the desiring energy, all these energies that can go through our system. There might be things you can learn to help you deal with that on the body mind level. For example, you might find that if you go for a walk or go for a run, it helps. For example, you might find that if you talk to somebody or you start singing a song or you start dancing, it helps. Probably all of these sorts of things will help. And that's great. So that's learning on a relative level how to deal with these sorts of energies. Um, but yes, these are the vasanas. This is the habitual tendencies that all our vasanas, all our conditioning, all our habitual tendencies are different. The specifics of our conditioning is different from body to body, from mind to mind. Um, but in general terms, we all have these vasanas. So it's just about allowing them out, not suppressing them, healing them, understanding them. Often we need to look at them and understand them. So, for example, if someone is anxious, they're usually afraid of something happening in the future, afraid of something, and maybe they're aware of what they're afraid of, or maybe they're not aware of what they're afraid of. But to go into that, to understand that, to have insight into that. But there comes a point, Graham, where you realise, this body mind really isn't me. It's not just like a verbal statement. I am not the body mind. I'm not the body mind. I'm not the body mind. Nothing. There comes a sense where, like, oh yes, this presence is what I am, and this body mind is just an appearance in that presence. And when you realize this presence is what you are, this beingness is what you are, this beingness needs nothing, which means you don't need to seek this or seek that to be happy. You don't need to watch television to be happy. You don't need to listen to Bob Dylan to be happy. You don't need to drive a sports car to be happy. You don't need anything. So when you really realize this, you feel happy. This happiness is also the self, your true nature. Just this happiness is your true nature. And this starts to dissolve the vasanas. Now, what I find it depends on who you are. It depends on the individual, but some people need to have a bit more of a talk. So some people want to talk to me, and we can have a one-to-one with these sort of vasanas, these personal things. That can be helpful, or to talk to a friend, or to talk to a specialist who knows about these things. So sometimes we need a bit of. So let me just let somebody in the room who'll join and wonder why everybody is already here, why we've started already, because she thinks the meeting's about to start. Okay, there we go. So sometimes if we have some very strong conditioning that makes us feel anxious or fearful or depressed or we're traumatized, then sometimes we need to sort of talk about that a bit more, go into a bit more detail. That tends to be best done in a one-to-one, whether it's with me or with a counselor or with someone else or something. In general terms, yes, to be with the I am. What do you think, Ryan?
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I've been trying to bypass all that stuff just by resting in the I am, but
Mm.
maybe both can be integrated together. Like I've noticed, it's easiest for me to rest in that space while walking or biking or while being active instead of being still with the anxiety. Yeah.
That's a great point. That's a great point you just made about bypassing. What people call spiritual bypassing. I often call it emotional bypassing because we're trying to bypass the negative feelings. And that's totally understandable because we don't want to feel the negative feelings. That's why they're called negative feelings. Negative feelings are the ones you don't want. Positive feelings are the ones you do want. So it's normal or understandable to sort of use these practices to get away from having to feel those things. But that doesn't work with our feelings. It can work with some very superficial things. You can just ignore it and then it's gone. But they're the ones that are not deep rooted in you, and they're the ones that weren't that problematic in the first place. Most of us have a whole swathe of much more deeply rooted emotional issues. Just because that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. We've all been kids, and we've all had all these inputs into us as a kid, and that causes a whole chain reaction of things, and we become conditioned. So what happens when we realize that what our true nature is beingness, and we need nothing? And we also realize this beingness is untouchable. Nothing can harm it. Yeah? It's naturally unattached. Without effort, it is one with everything, and nothing will harm it. Like the movie and the screen. Yeah? Like the mirror and the reflection. Doesn't matter what's happening in the movie, the screen is always unaffected. Doesn't matter what's happening in the reflection of the mirror is always unaffected by what's happening in the reflection. The screen is the same way. Our beingness is always unaffected by whatever is appearing to us in life. Krish, you got to leave? Has he gone already? Where has he gone? I think he's gone already. Oh, there you are. Krish, good to have you with us. So when you realize what you really are, this beingness is unaffected by feelings. It means that whatever you're feeling, no matter how shitty or terrible or awful it feels, how distressing it feels, and it can feel very distressing, you'll be okay. This gives you confidence to feel. This gives you strength to feel. Now you're no longer trying to escape feelings. Initially, you come to this teaching because you want to get rid of your negative feelings. If you could escape them and they never come back, perfect, let's do it. Why not? That's good. Makes sense. Logical. When we start to realize we can't get rid of our conditioning this way, we're just suppressing it, we're just ignoring it, and it's still there. And as soon as we come out of the I am, they just come back again, like monsters in the cupboard. You lock them away, and then you open it, they're still there again. Why aren't they? You just close the door for as long as you like. You're resting in the I am for a week, for a month, for a year. You open the door again, they're still there because we haven't emptied the cupboard full of the monsters. So when we realize what we are, what we can do, before we think we're the body-mind. So we're too afraid to open this cupboard full of monsters because the monsters are going to attack us. We're just a little body-mind. We're vulnerable. But when you realize your identity is beingness, now you can open this cupboard. The monsters can attack you. They can make you feel terrible. And you can allow them out. And what happens as these monsters come out and start attacking you? It's like the Incredible Hulk. You know the Incredible Hulk? And he's full of rage. The Incredible Hulk is this huge hulk of a monster that's full of rage. As they start feasting on you, as they start making you feel terrible, they get smaller and smaller and smaller. And eventually, they turn back into you. They turn into little children. Not you, but children you. And you realize that these little cute kids who are hurting inside. All these different yous from different ages. And these are the monsters that you've been shutting in the cupboard. They're you. They're all your different childhood traumas. Some big traumas, some little traumas. They're all there in that cupboard that you shut away. And so you let these monsters out, and then eventually you make peace with these monsters. You realize they're you. They're little children that need your attention and love. And you're no longer afraid of them. You make peace, you heal. And as you make peace and heal these inner demons, these inner monsters, what happens? This I am comes up. This I am comes up. We abide deeper, more deeply and deeply in the I am. You see? Otherwise, we shut the door on the monsters. I feel like I should go on a little bit because the meetings should be ending about now, but I know 2 people have just started because of the time change. Yeah, you can shut your door on the monsters. You can lock them up in there, and you can meditate for a lifetime, 2 lifetimes, 6 years, 5 years, 6 months. When you open the door, they're just there again, just like you left them, just all squashed into that cupboard. And you're like, damn it, I can't believe it. I went to Nepal, I went to India, I went to Tibet, I went to China, I went to Glastonbury, listened to Bob Dylan, and they're still there. I open the door, they're still there. So you're not dealing with them. You have to deal with it. But we deal with it from a place of strength. If you're fearful and weak and small, don't open the cupboard. You're just going to traumatize yourself. When you realize what you are, when you feel strong, you can open that door. You can start to feel your negative feelings. You can start to look at them. Why are they there? And I'll ask questions. Why are they there? What are you doing there? Where did you come from? Nice to meet you, sir. How are you doing, Mr. Monster? How are you doing? Where did you come from? Why are you there? Oh, right. Oh, you were created when I was 18. I remember, yeah. I remember when I was 18, went to school, and there was this girl, and she said something really rude to me. And then that's when you came in, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember. I remember you. Okay, let me think about what happened then. Okay. Oh, and then you came along when I was 13. That when you happened when a teacher told brand me up in front of the class and made fun out of me in front of the class, and that's when you came along, isn't it? And whatever it is, so and these monsters get smaller and smaller. You get more familiar with them, and then they disappear. Sometimes they come back again. Just to say hello. I hope I haven't lost anyone with my monster analogy. I hope everyone knows that I'm talking about these traumas and emotions, that these represent the traumas and emotions we feel that come up as we go through life. And various things traumatize us. Little traumas, big traumas. It can be small things externally. Inside us, it can be big, or vice versa. You could have gone through something horrific externally, and you come out, you're not too scathed. And sometimes some little words, someone says something here, someone says something there, go straight into you, causes a problem, stings.